Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead video, and today I want to talk about the prison arc and what if the governor was not too far gone, and what if Rick managed to convince the governor to step down and to join him in the prison. And this would change a lot about the Walking Dead. The prison wouldn't fall and major characters like Beth, Herschel, Bob and Tyrese would not die. And The Walking Dead would just end with everyone living happy ever after, more or less, in the prison after they defeat their only threat, which is the governor. They would now have a tank also to deal with any big hordes or any big issues that the prison would face. This would also mean that Carol never reunites with the group. She is exiled, and because they never leave the prison, Carol is never welcomed back to the prison community. With Rick and the gang never leaving the prison, a lot of bad things will happen, and first of all would be that Terminus is never destroyed, and that the hunters will continue in drawing people in and eating them. This could kill people like Morgan, unless he is able to find them over at the prison. The next thing after the ongoing threat of the termites would be that Father Gabriel would die in his church. Where we found him in The Walking Dead, he was hiding from walkers on top of a rock until Rick and Group saved him. Without Rick and Group, he would have died on that rock, and in Grady Memorial Hospital would have continued the way it was under Dawn's leadership, and Noah would have never have left. And this is one of the good things in a way. Noah might have survived a little longer into the apocalypse, but under the rule of Dawn and Grady Memorial Hospital. And Eugene, Abraham and Rosita would have continued heading north to Washington by themselves. Once they got there, they would have found out Eugene lied, and Abraham would have just given up. This would have led to Eugene being left on his own to die, and the group would have been doomed. The only character that could have a chance to survive would be Rosita, but her chances would still be pretty slim. Moving on to Alexandria, without Rick and his group making it there, you would still have the wolves attack, and maybe Alexandria would be wiped out by the wolves, or if they survived that, wiped out by the horde from the quarry. Alexandria wouldn't survive long enough to be taken over by the Saviors and forced to become one of their resource communities. And because there is no Rick, there is no second war with the Saviors, and the Hilltop and the Kingdom will continue to be the slaves of the Saviors for the end of days. Nego would never be toppled, and the Saviors would continue to grow, and by the time of the Whisperer War, the Saviors might have maybe half a dozen communities under their thumb, and the war could be very different. Maybe Negan and Alpha would easily come to an agreement to keep out each other's ways, and a lot less deaths would happen retrospectively in that aspect. However, it would be a life of slavery the characters would get instead in Virginia. As there is no Eugene in Virginia, the Commonwealth would never be found, and the Commonwealth would continue progressing as it did. You would have Lance slowly try and take power away from Pamela, but life would basically be the same, with no little revolution, and with a Walker Horde potentially attacking the community in its 12/13th year, the Commonwealth would fall to variant walkers. Some other small characters which we killed off because of the lack of our community leaving Virginia would be Magnus Group. They would never be saved by Judith Grimes, as Judith would be raised in the prison. And Morales would live longer, as Daryl was not there to kill him in the Savior War. Virgil would also be left unchecked on the island, and some other small characters would just not exist. Like Coco wouldn't exist, and Sadiq would have never been saved by Carl and would have died out in the wasteland of Virginia. And that is just to mention a few of the tiny changes that will be affected because the prison arc never ended. But this is it for me today, so please tell me down below, do you agree with what I think would happen if the governor was not too far gone? Or do you disagree? Like, how do you think the story would have played out if Rick and the communities never found each other? Let us know all your thoughts down below. But this is it for me today, so goodbye, peace out, and I'll talk to you later.